Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Riverside's very first TED Ed Student Showcase. Tonight we present you with 10 beautiful and groundbreaking ideas that will, without a doubt, change the course of history. Here's how it will work. Each student has been given 5 minutes to share their revelations.
Let's welcome our first speaker to the stage, Elias. Elias is a third grader who's going to talk about why people are telling you to save energy. People are telling you to save energy by not driving and walking and riding your bike instead. And today, Elias is going to tell you about why you shouldn't drive and how to use a quick and easy alternative. Let's welcome Elias to the stage.
Cars are not only bad for us, but for the environment, animals, and much, much more. If we don't take action now or soon, this planet could change very, very much. Hi, my name is Elias Tanous, and I'm here today to talk about cars versus bikes. I have a lot of reasons that I think you'll find interesting. Cars are more expensive than a lot of things, especially when you factor in insurance. The average American spends $12,000 a year on their car, while bikers usually only spend $200 to $300 a year on average. People who own cars have to pay for gas or electricity, while people who own bikes just have to pay for safety equipment such as a helmet or a lock for the road bikes. Not only all of that, but people who own cars also have, when they're driving, they produce toxic gases which are extremely bad for the environment, humans, and animals. For example, when you're driving and you're behind something, like a car, a vehicle like a car, when they produce the gases, those gases can cause things like respiratory illnesses, cancer, and heart disease. You might say, I don't have a bike because I live too far away from everything. But things have changed with an all-new electric bike. Made for long-distance riding, electric bikes can travel farther distances than cars in a shorter time. They are faster and more durable than bikes, and they're harder to steal. You might say, I have an electric car. They're not bad for the environment, but in reality, they are. There's a huge 2-mile deep, 8-mile long hole in Africa digging lithium, which powers electric cars. And guess how they're digging it? With gas-powered vehicles. To this you might say, well, if electric cars are bad for the environment, then so are electric bikes, right? While this is true, electric bikes use a lot less electricity over a much longer time. While I do not expect you to stop using cars altogether, I do expect you to start biking as much as possible to close places like a school or to your work. While biking doesn't sound that important, it's better for the environment, your pocket, and your health. So start biking today to save our planet.
Our next speaker is a 5th grader named Noah who has officially mastered a skill that most adults can only dream of. He will be sharing us the beauty and the benefits of doing absolutely nothing. Let's welcome Noah to the stage.
When was the last time you were completely bored? Not scrolling through social media or watching videos. Truly bored. For most people, it's hard to remember. The moment things get quiet, we grab our phones. We fill every moment with stimulation. But what happens by never giving our brains a chance to slow down? Scientists discovered something amazing. When we stop focusing on everyday tasks, our brain turns on a powerful connected network. It's called the default mode network. Think of it like your brain's background screensaver. When this happens, your brain connects different memories and ideas, leading to our most creative ideas. Letting your mind wander is one of the best ways to spark creative ideas. In a famous study, researchers gave participants an incredibly boring job, like copying phone numbers from a phone book. Afterwards, those who had been bored performed much better on creativity tests than those who hadn't. When your brain stops taking in constant information, it starts making its own. Boredom gives your mind the space to connect ideas in new ways. Think of boredom as an emotional compass. It's like a built-in alarm system that tells us that what we're doing right now is pretty dull. That annoying, restless feeling is actually a helpful push. It forces us to change direction, try new things, and chase goals that actually matter to us. So the next time you're waiting in a long line or sitting with nothing to do on a quiet afternoon, don't grab your phone right away. Leave it in your pocket, sit still, and just let your mind drift. Your next big, brilliant idea might depend on it.
For our next speaker, we have Nellie, a fourth grader whose talk is about expressing yourself, being yourself, and not basing your actions on what you think boys or girls will do. Let's give a warm welcome to Nellie.
If you ever wanted to do something, but you didn't think it was girly enough or boyish enough, stop questioning yourself. You'll make really unfair rules about genders that make no sense whatsoever. For example, I used to have short hair, and everyone thought I was a boy. So if I have short hair, then that means that I'm a boy? Also, you probably think that the girliest color is pink. But raise your hand if your favorite color is actually pink. It adds up. Did you know that only 7% of girls have pink as their favorite color? Crazy, right? As you know, there are way too many gender-based stereotypes. I couldn't even name them in the time that my talk takes. But let me just name a few. Boys are better at sports than girls. Girls wear dresses. Boys wear pants. Boys are hyper. Girls are calm. Girls play with dollies. Boys play with cars. And how could I forget? Girls have long hair. Boys have short hair. I mentioned this earlier, but I didn't really go that into it. Let me tell you a story about it. One day, my sister came back from her hair appointment, and she had short hair. I loved the way it looked, and I just had that little sister in me. I said, Mom, I want to get my hair cut short, just like my sister. So, next time I had a hair appointment, I had short hair. I ended up loving it so much that I kept it for a while. And I actually only started growing it out like last year. You may be thinking, oh, what does this have to do with anything? It's just a girl on stage talking about silly, harmless stereotypes. But no, stereotypes can be rude, mean, and hurtful. Picture this. You're the best basketball player in the 6th grade. But there's one minor inconvenience. You're a girl. You're still the best. You're just a girl. One day, a random person you don't know comes up to you. They say, you're a girl, which means you can't be good at basketball. That would hurt a lot. And it's not just that one person. It's so many people. And over time, you might just think, these are really, really mean. And I don't want anyone to think I'm bad at basketball because I'm a girl. I might just quit. And that's a horrible feeling. This is the part of the talk where I give you my main message. Be yourself. You are perfect, weird, awesome, and authentic. Pour your heart and soul into the things you love. Do the things you love, no matter what anyone else says. This is the most important thing I'm going to say in this entire talk. Be different. Picture this. There's a world where everybody wears the same clothes, has the same hair, has the same thoughts, has the same opinion. Also, you might be thinking, mean comments are the worst and I hate them. I wish they weren't a thing. But actually, mean comments are a very, very helpful thing to help you improve. Like, let's go back to that basketball thing. We thought of it like, these mean comments are mean and I'm going to quit basketball. But we should think of it like this. These comments are mean and they're telling me I'm bad at basketball, but I'm really, really good at basketball. So once this person watches me play, oh, they're going to eat their words. And you really want them to eat their words, right? So, after my talk, what do we learn? Stereotypes are crazy. Stereotypes are mean. And be yourself. I only want you to do 2 things after today. 1, be yourself, be different. We already talked about that. 2, next time you hear somebody say something stereotypical, I want you to say, wait, 1 second. Say, who decided that? Thank you.
Maybe you all have watched Jaws. If you have, you know that sharks are boat-destroying, man-eating, leg-munching monsters. Well, all of this here to tell you that you're wrong.
Hi, my name is Alden, and today I'm going to tell you how sharks are important to our oceans. Have you ever been to the beach? It's really nice to go there. You can lay and play around in the sand and even go swimming, but swimming in the ocean can be scary. I once went to the beach and I was afraid of sharks like these ones. I was afraid of them because they were scary and they also were bigger than me. But they're not dangerous. You might think I'm joking, but I'm not. People think sharks are dangerous because they kill a lot of people, but they only kill 6 times a year. Humans kill 100 million sharks each year. See the difference? So in case you thought that sharks are dangerous to us, we are dangerous to sharks. Sharks are important to our oceans. They keep our oceans clean and healthy. Also, a good, clean, healthy ocean should provide food, water, oxygen, and good weather. Imagine if there were no sharks. Sharks are part of an ecosystem. Bigger fish eat smaller fish. If sharks are hunted or they disappear, then there would be too many smaller fish and it wouldn't be balanced. Reefs are part of an ecosystem. Smaller fish eat fish that are smaller than them, like zooplankton and algae. Sharks eat most of the big fish. Sharks are predators. If there were no sharks, then the algae would grow out of control and it could damage the reef. That's why sharks are important to our oceans. Rather than be afraid of sharks, you should be afraid for sharks. What are some ways to help? First, try to become an expert on sharks, like reading books about them or looking up facts on the internet. Second, try not to eat shark food products. If you see one at a store, try to tell the owner to stop selling it. Last, a shark fundraiser. Try to reach out to wildlife conservation organizations for a shark you want to help. Try to learn ways how to raise money. I hope you care for sharks now. For our last speaker before the intermission, we have Nairita, a fourth grader who's going to tell you about why the blabbing adults always give you about having a growth mindset is actually true. Let's welcome Nairita to the stage.
Have you ever thought, I can't do this, and then just stop trying? This is called a fixed mindset. A fixed mindset is when you know something, but you don't want to learn more. That is a lot unlike a growth mindset. A growth mindset is when you know, but you're ready to learn and grow with knowledge. Hi, I'm Nariti, and today I'm going to be talking to you about a growth mindset. Did you know that students who actually believe in themselves in school do better by over 14%? That's a huge impact on their grades. Look, I'm going to tell you two stories. One of them goes like this. There was a student, and he was running late. When he went to his professor's room, he saw two problems written on the board. He didn't know what they were supposed to be, so he thought they were homework, and he wrote them down to solve them. But they weren't homework. There were two problems nobody could solve. He went home, and he solved them. When he gave it back to his professor, the professor was surprised. These weren't problems. I was telling you that these are a very hard question. He became famous, but one of the main reasons he became famous was because he didn't know it was impossible. Sometimes if we know things are impossible, then we think, oh, a lot of great people can't do this. Can I really do this? And that's bad. That's why I'm here giving you this talk. Second story goes like this. When I grow up, I want to be in the military. I don't know how I'll do it or when or what's going to happen. But I can be ready for it if I will. I can play basketball and I can be good in school, and that'll help. Also, I'm going to give you some advice. So, after all this talk, you might be, okay, that's good to know, but here are some ways you can actually apply a growth mindset in your life. Let's say a friend gives you some advice. Instead of saying, nope, I can't do this, you can say, sure, I can do it. If you're working in a group at school and the teacher tells you, can you do a little more? You can say, sure, I'll try. If the parent says, you're doing good, but can you do a bit more? You can say, sure, I'll try. Now, I'm going to tell you two things that are very important. One is that never give up. You might surprise yourself in what you might be able to do. And second is because the only way something stays impossible is if you never try. Thank you.
Alright, everybody, go grab a Fanta and gorge yourself on popcorn because it's intermission!
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Next up, we have Sama, a fourth grader who's going to talk about a unique, rare, beautiful alarm instrument that she plays that you probably never heard of. And the great thing is, she's actually going to give a demonstration. I'm going to pass the mic to Sama, and let's welcome her to the stage.
Hello, my name is Salma, as was already mentioned. I'm going to talk to you today about the Qanun, as was also already mentioned. So this instrument is authentic, and you've probably never heard of it before. It's called the Qanun. As you can see, it's shaped like a trapezoid, and it's got a lot of strings. So the Qanun is special in a lot of ways. Now, the word Qanun actually means law or rule. Not the rule where you rule a kingdom, but the Qanun might as well rule the orchestra. Why? Because it plays notes so perfectly that other instruments tune themselves to it. Players wear metal rings like these below their nails on their index fingers. These rings hold picks like these so that they can pluck the strings to play. Um. Oh wait. So these are some examples of the picks and the rings. This is a tuning wrench like this one. So as you can see, there are circles around these little metal levers, like these ones on this. So these, you're probably wondering, what are these for? These, if you've ever seen a piano, then you know the black keys on a piano. These levers serve the exact same purpose. But they're a lot more intricate than the black keys on a piano. The black keys only make a note flat or sharp. These little levers can make a note half flat, half sharp, quarter sharp, or even an eighth flat and eighth sharp because of their numerosity. Now, there are two modern variations of the qanun, the Turkish, which is the one on the top, and the Arab, which is the one on the bottom. If you remember the levers we just talked about, they're actually called mandas, and these are the things that cause the main change in style of the qanuns. So, if you look closely, you'll see that they're more numerous on the Turkish qanun than the ones on the Arab qanun, and they also stand up straighter. Because of this, on the Arab qanun, you sometimes take your nail and you put it on the strings to make a note like flat or sharp, but you can't do that on the Turkish qanun because they're too numerous and stands too straight. Now, let's compare to a guitar. The guitar has 6 strings, but usually a qanun has from 74 to 81 strings. Well, each 3 strings are a note, but anyways. Now, let's compare it to a grand piano. The grand piano has 3 strings per note, just like on the qanun, except they're on the inside and they're hit with a little hammer. On the qanun, they're on the outside and they're hit with your finger. The qanun, it has no specific origin. It was developed over millennia across many civilizations. It has roots dating back to 19th century BCE in Mesopotamia, meaning modern-day Iraq, which is in the Middle East, if you know what that is. By the 10th century, the qanun was heavily involved in Arab music. Historians say that also in the 10th century, the music philosopher Al-Farabi, he perfected the qanun and gave it its first detailed description in his book, Kitab al-Musiqa al-Kabir, meaning the Great Book of Music. Now, I've talked a lot about the qanun itself, but I'm also going to talk about someone who played the qanun, who is famous. That person is Imam Hamsi. Imam was so good at playing the qanun, she literally earned the title of the Great Lady of the Qanun. Not only was she good at playing the qanun, she invented techniques to make it better. Usually, even now after Iman, players only use their 2 index fingers to play the qanun. But Imam thought, why should I use 2 if I've got 10? So she invented a way to use all 10 fingers to play the qanun. Now, she also collaborated with Fairuz, who is one of the most famous Arab singers of all time. She played in Fairuz's orchestra in Lebanon and across the world. Not only did she do these 2 things, but she also completely broke the rules of the qanun being a background instrument. Because she played solo in so many concerts, the qanun is now seen from a completely different perspective. Similar instruments are the grand piano, the harp, Swarmandal, which is an Indian instrument, the santoor, which is an Arab instrument, and it falls into the category of board zimmers. Now, why does the qanun rule? It's basically a hybrid model. It's got the body of a harp, the levers of an advanced machine, and it's played on your lap. It's got unmatched speed. If you're an advanced player and you're playing a really fast song, your fingers aren't going to be seen. They're going to be a blur. You could play hundreds of notes per minute. Now I'm going to play a song on the qanun. You may have noticed there was a minor malfunction in the tuning of one note, and also I'm only a beginner, so this wasn't as intricate as the qanun can go. So if you haven't heard the intricate tunes of a qanun played professionally, do yourself a favor. Listen to the qanun. You can do it on any side.
Bet you $10 you don't know what a dole is. You all owe me $10. Oh, she will be making sure that you never lose that bet again.
Hello, and I'm Lucio Kobayashi, and this is a presentation about dolls. This is not the same doll who ran for president in 1996. This is not the Fur Company doll. They are not short for donut doll. Instead, these dolls are related to foxes, jackals, wolves, dogs, and African wild dolls. Dolls used to live all over Asia, but now they only live in Central, South, and Southeast Asia. The reason most of you don't know about dolls is because they are endangered. They're endangered mostly because of human activity and deforestation. But not only are people destroying their homes, they're also overhunting their prey like deer and wild boar. Because of this, there are only 2,500 remaining in the wild, and they have vanished from about 75% of their historical range. Now, how can we help dolls? Because they're endangered, we're probably not going to fly all over to Asia just to try and help people stop tearing down their homes or stop hunting people, their things. And so we can just raise awareness for them. Even right now, I'm raising awareness for them by just talking about them. If you guys were to turn to the person next to you and talk about dolls, you'd be helping them and you'd be helping their species. So I can use the Philadelphia Zoo for an example. They don't have any dolls. If 100 people were to ask them for dolls, they would bring them in. But because, 100 people aren't asking for dolls, they don't actually have dolls right now. So if every single person in this room would get a doll in that space, then you would be saving some from the wild, because then they could breed, and then they could have pups, and then therefore there would be more of the species. So I did an interview for this project, and I went to the Bronx Zoo, and I interviewed 2 zookeepers, Alyssa and Brianna. This is a picture of Alyssa, Brianna, and me. The Bronx Zoo had a pack of 3 dolls, but 2 died, so there was only 1 left. And that is a picture right over there of the three dolls before the two died.
So I had some questions for them. Of course, that's what happens during an interview. You ask them questions and they answer. So of course I had questions for them. Now what were the questions? I learned three things from the interview. The first part was about what do they eat and how do you feed them. Because I know for hyenas, especially at some zoos, they'll spread their food around trees or they'll try and hide it in certain places as puzzles. And apparently they do that for dolls. They feed them horse meat and sometimes with tongs. Because horse meat is closest to the meat in the wild. Like I said before, they eat deer and wild boar. So hooved animals, like the horses. So snacks. And so this is like the dolls, right? So imagine all of them chasing out of their enclosure and looking for food because they just put them in different places. Now the singular doll that's left, he really likes cardboard boxes. So they hide Alyssa and Brianna, mostly Alyssa, I guess, I think. She puts his food in cardboard boxes because he really likes those. So these are some pictures about dolls because you may not know what a doll looks like. I showed it on the first slide and the second slide, but that's about it. So these are pictures of dolls. And some of them, probably these two especially, you can tell they live in colder areas because they have thick fur. But that one probably most likely lives in around India because southeast, right? South, because it has shorter fur. So one of my questions was how do they act when the season changes, right? So the season changes, right? So this is probably them in the winter, right? Because they grow thick fur in the winter. Now Bronx Zoo's dolls, they were from colder parts of Asia. So they got thicker fur. And they're more active in, the winter. So these dolls, right here, all the way over here, they're more active in the summer. Because they're from that area, right? So according to Alyssa and Brianna, the Bronx Zoo's doll, he's really lazy in the summer. So if you're planning to go on Bronx Zoo and see the dolls in the summer, you're not going to see much. This is a doll's whistle, and because so we're dolls born captivated, like the dolls at the Bronx Zoo. So they were actually born captivated, and every doll at the Bronx Zoo is born captivated. Some fun facts about dolls is they make some really cool whistle sounds. So that's the whistle of the dolls. And if you listen, there's the first few whistles of the first doll. But the sounds that came after were actually other dolls, because they make screams and clucks and whistles and all different kinds of things, right? So this next part is about their family, because, they live in packs, right? So these dolls are in a pack, right? So a doll mother can have up to 12 pups at once at a single amount of time, which is a lot because usually for other animals you won't have that much. So if you were to look into other canine species like wolves or dogs, they don't have more than 5 pups at once. So this is actually kind of a big deal. So it's actually really important. This is them bringing down deer, and those are mother with their pups. So about their pack, right? So there can be a pack up to 40 dolls, and that is called a mega pack. Usually in most packs there are only 12 dolls, but if the mother does have those 12 pups, then they usually turn to a mega pack, which is 20 to 40 dolls, and that is a lot of dolls. And that's the end of my talk. Thank you for listening.
Next up, we have a fourth grader named Dean who will be telling us about an amazing game where you can devour chicken nuggets or speculate about economic collapse. Dean will tell us why this is an awesome game.
One time, I was stuck on my computer playing Gaming.io. My mom didn't like that, so she signed me up for a club. On Thursday, I learned about Dungeons and Dragons.
This game opened me up to a lot more in life, like playing with my friends and creativity. Now I'm going to teach you about it. My first reason, creativity can help in D&D because you have to think on your feet and the dungeon master has to think of like an environment around you and challenges and things like that for the players who were playing to do to finish the quest, and yeah. And it also helps with environmental creativity because that teaches you about space. They say things like, is it 4 feet away, 4 feet away, stuff like that. And that helps you because that's the life skill. My second reason is about socializing. Dungeons and Dragons helps you socialize because you can do it with your friends, stuff like that. What do you do when you don't have an idea for a party? You have a D&D one. What do you do when you want to have a play date? You have a D&D one. So it helps with that, and yeah. Thank you for listening to my talk.
I'm sure a lot of us have pets, right? You have like a adorable cat or a dog you like to cuddle with, or even a pet fish. Well, as far as you guys know, pets are around so then you could pet and cuddle them. Well, what if I told you that pets are more important to your lives than you think? I'm gonna invite Grace up. She's gonna tell you why.
Have you ever felt sad, worried, or even anxious? Well, today you can learn a way to fix that. Hi, my name is Grace, and today I'm going to talk about why pets are important to our lives and how they can make you feel better. Imagine this. You are doing your homework and it's very hard. You feel stressed and tired, but your pet comes up to you and sits on your lap. You feel happier. After a while, you finish your homework. Some days you might just want to stay inside and watch TV. But if you have a pet, they might want to play or even go on a walk. That could help clear your mind or give you some exercise. Pets can also help with socializing. Like if they have the same pet as you, or if you go on a walk and meet a pet friend while you're at it. You can also make a routine for your pet. For example, walking, playing, and feeding. Having a routine for your pet is good because it strengthens your memory. If you still don't think if you still don't think you'll get a pet, then you should probably think what I said. I can give you suggestions for getting a pet, like going to a shelter or even visiting your local pet store. Those pets need a home and a home. Thank you for listening to my presentation. Remember the power of pets.
We all know about autism awareness, but sometimes awareness isn't enough. Evan, a fifth grader, will be telling us about the difference between awareness and acceptance.
Hello, my name is Evan Boyle, and today I would like to talk about something very, very important. Here's my brother. This was him 3 years ago, and he's 14 now. And ever since I can remember, he's been super energetic. Like super duper energetic. And while this is mostly because of his ADHD, it's also because of his autism. He goes along with his day, appearing not to care, even though he definitely does. If somebody says something rude to him or laughs at him, he just keeps moving along, mostly happy and some sadness. That's not the main thing I want to talk about today. Today, I would like to talk about the difference between autism acceptance and autism awareness. Right now in New Jersey, in 2026, 1 in 29 people have autism. If we rewind it back to 2006, 20 years ago, it was 1 in 100. That's a big leap. While it was okay to just be aware back then, I feel as though we need to be more accepting now. A good example that I like to use of this is if you're playing soccer out on the fields and you see somebody on the side who looks like they want to play. Being aware is noticing that they're there, and being accepting is asking them if they want to come out and join in on the fun. Another way to show acceptance is if you see somebody that you know that has autism in like public or anywhere, just saying hi and knowing that you might not get a response and doing it with the good in your heart. Also, if they're having a meltdown, knowing that they're not being mean or bad, they're just overstimulated and they can't control it. And also knowing that just because they do something differently than you doesn't mean that they're doing it wrong, because being different is okay. The school that my brother goes to, Eden Autism School, is a special place. He gets to go mini golfing, bowling, go out to pizza stores like any other kid would. A story I would like to share about mini golfing is one summer, me and my family were in LBI, and we used to have a beach house there. And we went mini golfing in the beginning of the summer when literally nobody was there. My brother was having a rough go. He was just trying to break his club and not having a good time. Then he went to sleepaway camp at Eden, and he learned a bunch of stuff and how to be like better at that. And at the end of the summer, on Labor Day weekend, when it was so crowded and so busy, he had a great time, and it was a very memorable experience for our family. So what are ways we could help out in the community by being more accepting? If you see somebody who's left out at lunch or at recess, asking if they want to come and play with you. Or the opposite, if they're being picked on, standing up for them. Thank you for listening to my talk on the difference between autism and
We hope you enjoy the Riverside's first ever TED Showcase, and we hope you come back next year. Right now, I'd like to give a special thanks to the Showcase crew, the tech support team, all of you guys sitting down there, Mr. Beck, Miss Peluso, Miss Key Sweater, the PTO for this beautiful red carpet, and all the family and friends here tonight. If you were all inspired by these talks and enjoyed them, what if I told you there are a lot more? In the pamphlets that you got at the beginning of this production, there's in the back on the last page, there's a QR code. If you photograph this QR code, it will take you to a Padlet page. This Padlet page is everyone's film talks on it. Almost everybody filmed one. Most of the live speakers, the crew, and even I filmed one. Be sure to check those out later. And we hope you all enjoyed those as well. Before we go, I'd like to have all of the live speakers come back onto the stage. And I go on to